Hello, everyone. My apologies for being tardy. My apologies for being tardy. I had to deal with some family things. You guys know how that goes. My apologies interrupt my life. You guys don't know how I've been so excited about this live with Liz because I've been following Liz for a while, and I think the way I found Liz was one day she liked one of my posts, or she made a comment. I'm going to bring her on right now, because otherwise king and rambling and just going on and on and on. Liz, I hope you're there. I'll talk while you're on here. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Dr. Yabo. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was telling everyone how much I love you and how I even found you. You probably don't even know how I found you, so I'm going to tell you. I think one day this year, or maybe last year, you liked one of my posts and maybe you made a comment. I don't remember. But, you know, I'm very curious. So I'm like, oh, she brand Liz. Sounds like she's a branding coach. Let me see if I can learn from her. So I came to your platform and I loved what I saw. I just was looking at you. I looked you up and I saw the amazing work you've done on Google and online, but it wasn't really showing up on your Instagram platform. So I'm like, okay, this lady is either very humble or she's made enough money and she's like, I just want to scale back. But that's in summary how I got to know about you.
I love that. I love that. I've connected with so many amazing women in business on Instagram.
Yes, I saw that. And I tried to put your entire bio on the first post I posted, but it wasn't even long enough. Your bio is so detailed and so long. You've done so much that I didn't have enough room. But everyone, this is Liz. I want to make sure I pronounce your last name well. Dennery?
Dennery. That's right.
Okay. Okay. So this is Liz Dennery. In summary, Liz Dennery is the director and founder of She Brand Liz. And it's a company committed to the rising impact and the influence of women all over the world, correct?
Yes, globally.
Yeah, because you've had clients everywhere. She's worked with all sorts of prominent names, from Serena Williams to Ralph Lauren to so many. So Liz, I'm sure the ladies in my community would love to hear a little bit more about what you've done in the past and what got you here.
Absolutely. Well, I actually started in the fashion industry, which is why I ended up working with quite a few well-known fashion brands. But I started my career at Harper's Bazaar. I'm dating myself, but this is 25, almost 30 years ago. And I was working on marketing campaigns for brands like Ralph Lauren and Oscar de la Renta and Versace. And that was really my first foray into big brand marketing and looking at how they put the pieces of the puzzle together when they were forming a brand for themselves and creating a certain image and perception in the public eye. And I was there for a while and then left Bazaar and started freelancing and doing freelance marketing and public relations for fashion brands in New York. And a few years later, I started my own agency, Dennery Marks, and we were a very traditional PR and marketing agency working with fashion and beauty and lifestyle brands, and also some very well-known by first name people that everyone here would probably know. But it was really through my philanthropic work, IYABO, that I realized that what in PR specifically for women. I was working with a nonprofit in New York, Women in Need, and then in Los Angeles, Step Up Women's Network, working with at-risk women and teen girls and mentoring younger business women. And I was driving home from a meeting with a mentee one day, and literally the name She Brand popped into my head. This was more than a decade ago.
Wow.
And within a month, I had completely revamped my entire business and I started She Brand so that we could focus on the rising influence of women and helping more women to use their voices, to step into their power and build their businesses.
Wow, wow, wow. Now I have to say, excuse me, I have a cough drop in my mouth because I've been
Oh,
coughing
no.
a lot with Georgia allergies, and I don't want to keep coughing. I said the same thing on my live 2 days ago. So you've done so much. You've done so much, but you still look like you're 38 years old. I'm not going to ask you your age, but you look like you're
I'll
still.
take 38. I'll take 38. Why not? I'm 54, but I'll take 38.
Wow, you look great.
Thank you.
You look great. And I think we're both Taurians.
Oh, are you a Taurus too? When is your birthday?
April 27th.
Oh my goodness, you're 3 days before me. I'm
I
April
know.
30th.
I know. I saw your birthday. And I'm like, I'm proud again to be another Taurus, because every time I meet a new Taurus woman, I feel like I have so much in common with them.
Taurus sisters get each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, my latest client is also a Taurus, and on our second what's it called session, I said, when is your birthday? She said she's Taurus. I'm like, oh my goodness, no wonder you're so driven.
Exactly.
No, what? Yeah. So that's wonderful. Well, I'm 52, so I get 38 a lot. And I'm like, that's fine. You know what? I'd rather you tell me I'm 30. If I'm not 40 in your eyes, that's even better. I'm not 40, I'm not
Exactly.
50. So you've been involved in personal branding even before I knew what personal branding was. Honestly, I've been in business for almost 20 years. Now looking back, I realized what made my business grow and stay solid for so long is because I mastered personal branding. But at that time, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know. So you've been in this for a long time. So why do you think all of a sudden it's become so popular?
I think a part of it is the digital landscape. And we now have the opportunity to reach our audience and to reach our communities directly. Whereas, when I first started in this business, you really needed to go through the gatekeepers, for example, the traditional media. And in order to reach your audience and in order to have people, use and buy your products and to get seen. But now we have the ability to be seen by hundreds of thousands of millions of people all over the world, right? And it's an amazing thing. It's also a daunting thing. And so I think a lot of people get very confused. For women, I think sometimes being seen in that way can be a scary concept, right? I'm sure that you've seen that with some of your clients. But to answer your question, I do think so much of it has to do with the advent of the internet and social media and the ability to really put yourself out there and build your brand without gatekeepers in place.
And that's an advantage.
100%.
That's an
If you
advantage.
use it, if you
If
take advantage.
Yes, if you use it, it's an advantage. It's also less expensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because now you can just start an Instagram page for free and put yourself out there if you can bolster up the confidence to do it like you said, right? But
Yes.
before we had to pay, so, oh, you don't want to know how much I paid on marketing and on media and on all of those things when I first started out in the business world, which I don't have to do today because I'm doing all this by myself. So what really is a personal brand? Let's get into that because I don't think everybody quite understands what a personal brand is.
I think one of the reasons for that is there are so many definitions floating around, lots of opinions, but really your brand is the thoughts and the images, the words that come to mind when somebody thinks about you, engages with you, interacts with you in some way. Jeff Bezos once said, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room, right? It really is how you engage with other people and then the real estate about you in their mind.
So whether you like it or not, you have a personal brand.
Absolutely. And I've had people argue with me about the fact of, well, I don't want to build a personal brand. I want to do it my way. I don't need to build a personal brand. But you nailed it, is the fact that we have a personal brand, whether we like it or not, because the truth is people are going to, it's human nature to make judgments. Oh, she's funny. Oh, she's beautiful, whatever that might be. Oh, she's so intelligent. I love speaking with her. I love engaging with her. People are going to make judgments about you, whether you are intentional about it or not.
Very true, especially now in the digital space. If you decide to have a digital platform, whether you're active on it or not, whether, as long as you're out there, you're being seen by people. So whether you're actively working on that good brand or not, and good, again, we'll come to that in a second. Good is everybody, you can define good differently from how I define good personal brand. So ladies and gents, I hope you're listening. So it's not, you don't really have a choice because you already have a brand if you're here on Instagram. Now, let's get into the topic of the day, because the topic is who should be building a personal brand? Who should be building a personal brand, Liz?
Well, I mean, I'm biased, but I believe that everyone needs to think about and consider their personal brand. If you are out there and active in the world in any capacity, whether you have a business or you're involved with a nonprofit, or you are a parent and you're engaging with your child's school, all of those things can be representative of how you engage in the world and how you are seen, how you are perceived. So in my mind, everyone should consider their personal brand. I do think that those of us who have businesses need to be particularly intentional and thoughtful about how we build our personal brand. We need to think about, how do I want to be perceived? How do I want my community to feel when they buy my product, when they buy my service, when they engage with me? Because you have so much more power over that perception when you consider it, think about it, plan for it, and are intentional about it.
Wonderful. So my next question kind of ties into what the first question we got, but I'm going to take the question first. The Mindful Step Parent says, what's the process in determining what intentional brand is best for you?
So I want to make sure that I understand the question. So what is the process of being intentional about your brand? Is that the question? Like how does one consider? Right?
Yeah, how do you determine what intentional brand is best for you?
Got it. Well, first and foremost, and I go through this exercise with clients, is to ask yourself, what are the words, the adjectives, the attributes that I want to have come to mind when people think about me or engage with me or go to my website or come to an event that I'm hosting. The exercise that I do is, imagine that you are the invisible woman and you walk into a cocktail party and no one can see you. You walk over to a small group of acquaintances, friends, a few people that you don't know. And one of your friends or acquaintances is describing you to a stranger, right? And they're saying, oh, Dr. IYABO, let me tell you about her, right? What you want to think about is, what are the 3 or 4 words that you want that friend or acquaintance to use about you? That is really the first step in being intentional about your brand. How do I want to be perceived? What attributes or adjectives do I want people to, when they're talking about me, what do I want them to be saying, right? And then the second step is really thinking about who you are in the world, what you are offering, how you are the solution to other people's problems. So really it's about clarity, right? It's about, who am I? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What am I offering to my audience? What do I provide for them? How am I the solution? right? The value, and looking at that. Those two pieces, your brand attributes, how you want to be perceived, and then looking at who you are in the world and why you're doing this work and how your offering is the solution for your audience. Understanding that and having extreme clarity around those pieces allows you to communicate effectively, engage effectively, and make your offers efficiently.
Liz, I love you even more. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You are speaking my language.
I know I'm
Yeah.
preaching. I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit here.
Oh, that was wonderful. I'm going to actually take that clip. Once I post this on my page in a few days, I'm going to take the clip you just did and I'm going to repost that
Great. I love it.
because those two things explain it. However, you and I know that that extreme clarity you're talking about with points 1 and points 2, a lot of women still don't know what to do. They still don't know the words or adjectives that should describe themselves. They're still not sure what they're offering, what they can offer, and which is fine. I was there. I was that woman many years ago, but I evolved into being the woman I am today, who knows the words and adjectives I would like people to say about me. I know why I'm alive today. I know what my mission, my passion is. So it's a journey. There's nothing wrong if people don't know, right?
Well, I think you nailed it. It is a journey, which means you cannot necessarily know without taking action. And this is where I find a lot of, particularly coaches, consultants, service providers, get very tripped up. They feel like they are supposed to know all of these things right out of the gate without actually dipping their toes in the water, without actually taking action. And you have to consistently take action in order to gain clarity, right? You can't put the cart before the horse. So while with many of our clients, both individual entrepreneurs as well as very large multi-million-dollar brands, we do an archaeological dig and we ask lots of questions, but it really is in taking action that you gain more and more clarity over time. And as you said, you evolve, your brand evolves.
Yes, consistent daily action.
Yes.
And I say daily because even if you're not actively working on your business, whether you decide to read a book, go to the spa, take a walk 5 miles, walk 10 miles, take a break, you're still working on your brand.
Yes.
Why? Because you can't build a brand and a business if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't point to yourself first. So some days I may decide I just want to read a book and drink my tea and not have to deal with clients. I'm still building my brand because I have to first, I have to first build myself wholly.
Yes. You're supporting yourself.
I have to support myself. So I hope women are listening. Women, I hope you're listening because this information we're discussing in this 30 or 40 minutes, you cannot go to Google or YouTube and find it in one go. You can't. So, and I hope this answered your question, the mindful step parents. Now, Liz, what are the benefits of active branding? Because we've already said everybody has a brand regardless. So if somebody decides today, okay, Liz and IYABO, you've convinced me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to start actively, what are the benefits?
Oh, I mean, they are innumerable, right? So the confidence that you gain by taking action, even small actions every day, that's what builds your confidence. Again, you can't put the cart before the horse. The confidence comes after and with taking action. So tremendous confidence. Also, really making connections with others, right? You can be out there and you can be communicating and you can be talking about the work that you're doing and how you're benefiting other people, but it's the connections with other humans that also I believe really informs how your brand evolves. Again, you're learning through those connections, and that's a tremendous benefit. And then let's just talk about the financial benefit of a powerful brand. You are magnetizing and attracting more clients, more opportunities. It's not just luck. What's the, I'm going to botch the famous quote, right? But luck is actually when action and opportunity come together, right? It's something like that. And
Yeah.
I believe that wholeheartedly, that really creating abundance is about taking action, particularly when it comes to building your brand. So, one of the biggest benefits is, growth and building a larger audience over time and a community and feeling really fulfilled because you are providing a service and or products that are helping other people. I believe that today's consumer is so much savvier and so much wiser than she was 20 years ago when we were relying on paid advertising, right? And advertising was influencing us so much more even 10 or 15 years ago. But today's consumer is much savvier. She's more cynical, right? And so she is looking to other people online. She's looking to testimonials and reviews and friends and acquaintances to inform her. So as you build your brand and you build your audience, you are going to build a team of brand ambassadors who talk about you, who recommend you, who rave about you. And the benefits of that are just 100-fold.
Yes, yes, yes. Confidence, financial value, growth, fulfillment. One of my favorite words in the universe, fulfillment. That feels wonderful. Now, I'm going to ask you a question which I get asked a lot, and I want to see if our answers align. So we're talking in the context of businesses and branding and all of that. How does a 9 to 5 come into all of this? Because we have to remember there's more employed women
Yes.
than employee women. So how does branding come into your 9 to 5 job?
Oh, I love this question. This is such a good question because I think there is a huge fallacy that if you are an employee, if you are working for someone else, if you have a 9 to 5, then you don't need to build a brand. And I want to call that out right here because the truth is, the more powerful your brand, the clearer your brand, truthfully, the more opportunity that you will have within the company that you're working for, with your employers, the more you are going to stand out in a positive way if you are very clear about who you are and the gifts that you bring to the table. And that really is regardless of whether you have a 9 to 5 or you are an entrepreneur and you have your own business. So I actually believe that it's a huge fallacy that if you work for someone else that you don't have to worry about building a brand or that you shouldn't build a brand. I believe that the opposite is true.
But then people are going to tell you, my employer said I cannot be online, or my employer, I get this a lot from women. Again,
Yeah.
I've only spent 9 months of my life being employed, 9 months of my adult doctor life being employed. So I don't know what's happening out there in the employee world. But a lot of women tell me that, oh, I'm not allowed to say this, or I'm not allowed to showcase that.
Yes, and actually, it's very interesting because I've had conversations with people in the financial services arena and also in the legal world where, yes, they have certain regulations about what you can and can't post right online. I still don't think that precludes you from being able to focus on how do I want to be perceived by others. What is important to me? How do I want to grow as an individual? How do I want to help other people? I do think that you can absolutely still focus on these things. And it is a personal choice as to whether you want to stay with an organization that puts a damper on your own personal expression, right?
Yes. Yes. No, no, keep going, Liz. Keep going. I was sometimes I get excited and I start to clap. That's my style. No, I wasn't. Please keep going. That
Yeah.
was
I mean,
excellent. Oh my gosh.
obviously, for anyone that's here that already follows me, they know that how vocal I am about, for example, women's rights and human rights and civil rights, and the fact that we should all have the right to express ourselves. And if you are working for a company or a brand that is really interfering with your ability to express yourself, then that is your own personal decision as to whether that is something that is comfortable for you, that is something that you want to continue with. I cannot make that decision for another person. For me personally, that would not be acceptable, right?
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Which is one of the reasons why I am my own boss. And this is something really interesting, IYABO, and I can't remember if you've talked about it already. You may have, but there's a great saying, which is, if you don't want to have a boss, if you don't want to work for someone else, then you have to take the responsibility of being the boss of yourself. And many people don't, I think, really absorb that personal responsibility, and it is huge, and I think it's really important to remember.
It is. And I talked about this, maybe not directly like this, but in many ways. I was born into an entrepreneurial family. My mom and my dad were entrepreneurs, so that's all I knew from the time I was in the womb. And my mom just influenced and inspired me so much, Liz, because my mom didn't have the privilege of going to school. She couldn't speak English. She could only speak our native language, Yoruba. She couldn't write English. My dad will always write for her, but one thing she knew was how to count money. She knew that really well, and she was they were entrepreneurs together. They were in the real estate business in Lagos together. They built lots of homes together. They bought a home in England, but they also had separate businesses, So I watched that and I loved it so much that, okay, if my mom can make all this money without having stepped one day in school, not elementary school, not high school, then why can't every woman do that? It's buying and selling. It's knowing your numbers. And my mom was the most confident woman. Oh, when she stepped into a party, she'd be like, I used to look at her as a little kid and I'm like, wow, is that my mom? So, everything you're saying is just, I'm sure you've put all this in a book. Do you have a book, Liz?
I do.
Yeah.
It's really more of a workbook for women who want to build their brand. It's called Style and Substance.
So if people come to your page, they can click the link in your bio and find the book.
My book is in the link in my bio. It's on Amazon. It's available. Yes. And it is meant to be written in and dog-eared and highlighted. It's a workbook for building a brand.
Wonderful. I'm going to get it today. There's another book I have on my list. It's on Amazon, so I'll get it today. So now, let me make sure I'm respectful of time. Are we still good on time?
We're fine, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to put two questions together here. I want to ask you that, because I wrote down consistency, then action, then confidence, financial value, as being the benefits of branding. Now, let's talk about the action part. How do women know that? Let's even talk about the ones taking action, not even the ones who are not. The ones taking action, how do they know they're taking the correct action? Because I see a lot of people who are working a lot and I see the brand they're building and I'm like, it's like, I don't know what to say. So how do they know they're taking correct action that is actually moving them forward is number one, the first part of the question, which also links into how do we know if we have a notable brand or a good brand or a powerful brand?
Yeah, so I think those are very related questions, right? So really, it's very much trial and error. I do believe that there are certain things that you want to put in place, such as a very clear message and a mission, clear communication consistently, being willing to be seen more often, right? You don't have to be everywhere, but you do need to pick a couple of places where you are going to consistently show up. You cannot sleep on yourself or the people that you are meant to serve. You have to show up, right? So all of these things do have to be in place. And then I think in terms of gauging success, right? You know, is this working? Am I becoming known? You know, have I built a notable and noteworthy brand? So first and foremost, how does it feel, right? How do I feel with the brand that I have created? Yeah, so how does that feel in my body? Number two, what is the response that I am getting? What am I receiving from people as I am putting my message out there, as I am adding value, as I am making offers, right? And then with a little bit of marketing lingo thrown in here, we need to look at KPIs, key performance indicators, right? Are you growing your audience on the platforms where you are visible? Are people DMing you, asking questions? Are they commenting? Are they purchasing your products and or services, right? So all of those pieces, it's not just about making more money, although that is a wonderful byproduct. It is about, does this feel good? Does this feel aligned? Does it feel good? Are my clients experiencing aha moments, epiphanies, benefits from using my products? Am I getting reviews and testimonials? Is the feedback positive, right? And then we could dive into deeper levels, right, of notoriety and, you know, visibility, such as is the press noticing me? Are influencers, both in my industry and outside my industry, noticing me and talking about me? Are more opportunities coming my way? All of these things are markers for building a notable brand.
That's it. Yeah, basically, that's it. How do we feel about it? Is it making us feel good? Do you wake up in the morning looking to being happy, looking forward to keep working on your brand? Or are you like, this brand and this business, you know, how do you, because at the end of the day, that's number one. How do you feel about it? Then what's the response? How is it going? You know, is it going well? You know, it's just, it sounds like, I don't want to say it's common sense because that comes across as rude, but it really is. You know, are you happy with it? And is everybody else happy about, well, not everyone, because again, we can't please the world. Let's get that right. You know, there's going to be some people who are going to post comments and say, what do you think you're doing, or what? Not those, you know, but the people who matter. Yes. Are they benefiting from it? So now, Liz, can people brand themselves efficiently? Because now we've talked about action, we've talked about why we need to take action, we've talked about how do you feel and how do the people you're serving feel? So now, can people do all this on their own? Or do they need you, or do they need me? Or can they feel confident building a notable brand on their own?
I think it really depends on the person, to be completely honest. And yes, it is absolutely possible to, and many people have done it. Now, they might have support in other areas, right? They might have family members that support them in some way, that, you know, maybe it is a single mom who is building a business, but she has sisters who watch her children for her while she spends 4 hours a day on her business, right? So I don't think that we can all do it alone. I do think that we need support. I think it can be done very cost effectively. I always tell people that, you know, at the time aren't ready to invest in our services, for example, go buy the workbook. Spend $20 on the workbook, and it will take you through the exact process that other clients pay 10, 20, $30,000 for, right? So I think it just depends.
Yes.
Some people who have, you know, the ability to invest and want their hand held and want a brand strategist who is going to help them come up with their mission, their message articulation, their taglines, who they want the design and style guide and all of those things, and you have the ability to do that, then by all means work with a specialist, work with somebody who has 20, 30 years of experience and working with brands all over the world. Absolutely. But do you have to do that in order to be a successful brand? Absolutely not.
Wonderful. Start small. Buy a book.
Start small.
Just
Yeah.
start. Just take action. That's what I tell women when they come to me and they're complaining, I can't afford your 25,000. I'm like, you don't have to. Have you bought my ebook? Is what I ask them. I'm like, my ebook is $99. Have you bought that? Because
Yes.
my ebook has everything. It's just that it's not me talking to you actively, but I put it together. It took me weeks to write it. Have you bought that? Oh, I don't really want that. I really want you to coach me live. I'm like, okay, you know, you have to make a decision. That's wonderful. Somebody asked this question, and I was going to ask you. Actually, the same, the step parents lady asked the same question, but how do people, and I know this is a fully weighted, it's a heavily weighted question. It's a really big one, but how do women start to combine their day job and their business and brand effectively? Because many women want that, but they can't really quit their day job. They have to pay their bills.
Right. So are we talking about a side hustle? How does someone start something on the side?
Basically, because that's
Yeah.
what she asked as well. She said it's hard for her to organize her time around her social media content and her day job, and that leaves her completely lost.
Yeah. And I think a big part of the problem right now is comparisonitis. I think that, you know, people are spending too much time watching what other people are doing and also feeling like they have to be everywhere in order to make an impact. And so what I always say, particularly for someone that has a day job, and we've had clients who are still in 9 to 5s while they are building something else, you have to start small. You do have to be strategic. You have to be a master at time management. You cannot sleep on yourself. You cannot, you know, imagine that just one day you're going to wake up and all of a sudden you're going to have these large swaths of 6-hour time periods to be able to get the work done. It has to be done in shorter spurts. My advice always is to pick a platform, or for some people it might be in person, right? It might be their church, or it might be a women's group, or it might be their school or their children's school, where they are connecting with other people and meeting people, and they can really practice their message, making offers, talking to other people. If it is in the digital landscape, pick a platform, whether it's Instagram where we are now or on Facebook, and start connecting with people. But also don't beat yourself up, because you can only do so much. Set small, realistic goals, and consistency is key. Consistency is key.
Yes, 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 yes. So my last question, which I think we've discussed this all along, but are there 3 to 5 things that a brand new, like a brand new person can begin to do today to develop a notable brand?
Yes. So really it's a review, right? So number one, the most important piece is clarity. Yeah. So who am I? What is the intention of my work in the world, right? Who do I want to help? Who am I serving? And how am I the solution to their problem? Getting really clear about this is key, because when you are out there making offers and you're telling stories, oftentimes, particularly with coaches and consultants and service providers, they have so many wonderful stories that they could be sharing about their own journey, and then making an offer with the story, right? So sharing a piece of the story on Instagram and making the offer, giving some advice, right? Adding value. Gary V wrote a book many years ago called Jab, 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 Right Hook. Are you familiar with it?
No,
You
no.
gotta love the boxing analogy with the bro marketing, but it's a great book. And he talks about how you want to be consistently adding value to your audience's lives. And you also want to be asking for the sale. You want to be
Yeah,
making the offer, right?
yeah.
You're not going to move forward if you're not making the offer. As a brand, from the biggest brands in the world, right? Like Nike or Apple, they are constantly making offers. You have to do the same as an individual entrepreneur. So, number one, clarity, right? Number two, get out there and communicate. Pick a platform, pick a place where you are going to engage, right? Start telling your stories, start making your offers. Number three, connect and engage. So you had mentioned earlier on in our conversation, I think about, somebody being on a platform, but maybe they're not there all the time. And
Yes.
in my mind, that's a big no-no when it comes to building a brand.
Yeah.
You need to have a light on. You need to be present. It doesn't mean that you need to be there 24 hours a day. And case in point, the woman who was asking the question, who has a 9 to 5 and doesn't have a lot of time, you can take 15 minutes a day to check in on your platform, to answer any questions or DMs that you have received, and you can post something. You could do that daily and take 15 to 20 minutes, and that would be enough, right? But it's when put your name out there, you put your offer out there, and then you disappear for 7 days, that's not okay. So consistency is another really, really important piece. And then lastly, in terms of what you can do now, today, once you have clarity, once you are out there communicating, you really have to consistently make offers. You have to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and say, you have this problem. If you're struggling with this, I see you right here. If you're struggling with these 5 things, I see you. Here's my own experience. Here's how I can help you. I have X, Y, and Z product. I am starting, a group with 10 people in 2 weeks. Sign up. That you really have to consistently be asking and offering. That is the key to building that brand and building recognition and ultimately creating success for yourself.
Absolutely. That's the only way. You've listed it out. That's the only way. And many people struggle with this, but that's just the only way. And then I will even add at the end of it, Liz, which again still boils down to consistency, patience.
Yes. Yes.
Patience. Too many of us want to build Rome in a day. We want to build a fantastic mansion in a day. We want to go on all the nice vacations in a day. We want the best business in a day, but it takes time. I just told you that this is my 20th year in business and I'm
Yes.
still showing up every day. You don't want to know what I've already done today between when I woke up at 6 a.m. till now. If I tell you what I've already achieved in these, I don't know how many hours, ladies, you'll be like, what? How does she do all that? I've already walked 3 miles. I've had breakfast. I've had a session with one of my coaching clients. I've looked at some admin work for my practice. I've prepared for this live and I'm about to end this live, all since 6 a.m.
Yeah, you are a master, and I touched on this earlier. You are a master of time management. You
Thank
have
you.
your to-dos and you focus, I imagine, on getting each thing done, right? And one thing
Yes.
I'm going to add, Iyabo, you're talking about patience. I do want to say, I think it's very important for people to remember that when they start putting themselves out there and maybe all they hear are crickets, that is not necessarily a bad sign, right? Remember, we talked a little bit earlier about, well, how does it feel in my body? Does it feel, maybe it doesn't feel good if you're not getting a tremendous response right away, but do I know in my heart that what I am offering is important. It is connected to my mission. I know I'm going to help people. And if that is the case, you do have to be patient. You do have to give it time, because I love the analogy that you stated about Rome not being built in a day. In my book, I talk about that. And I share that even Beyonce was not built in a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
So
Yeah.
her success, Beyonce's success was 15, 20 years in the making. So much hard work. So we have to remember that.
Thank you so much, Liz. Can I add a quick bonus question?
Sure.
Please.
Sure.
Niching up, niching down, niching in the middle, niching in the roundabout, niching. I'm going to say what I think, but if you disagree with me, it's also fine. I think it's overrated, and I think it's confusing a lot of women. I don't niche up or niche down or whatever. I niche myself. I come on and I talk about all the things I'm passionate about. I share my mission, and I share the personal, vulnerable sides of myself, and I put it all out there. And out of all those, I've created some offers where I know women really, where I can really impact women, as in the relationship side, as in the money side. But I still come out every day and I talk about everything. I put it all out there. Obviously, with some privacy. I don't talk about my whole life. Nobody wants to see your bedroom secrets, women. You know, it's like, yeah, there has to be boundaries. But this is why I think women are getting, and it's actually making them stuck. This is why some women cannot take action, because
right.
they're like, okay, I need to niche down. So what is that best thing that I need to talk about? And I'm like, just be yourself, just be authentic. So can you please help us figure out this niching down, niching up?
Yes, I think, first of all, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I agree with you that it is something that confuses women so much when they are, particularly those who are just starting out. And I've gotten into some pretty heated arguments with coaches and different people in the industry who are just adamant that you must have a niche in order to be successful. Like you, I do not agree with that. However, what I do believe is that what we've talked about this entire conversation, you do need to have clarity, right, about who you are and what you stand for, who you are helping, who you are serving, and how you are the solution to either what they are struggling with or what it is they most desire. So clarity, not necessarily niche, is the key. I mean, if you look at someone like Serena Williams, if the argument around niching were true, then Serena should just focus on playing tennis. She should be the best athlete in the world, which she arguably is, right? But she shouldn't do any of the other things that she's done and continues to do. Serena is also a fashion designer. She has a fashion collection, S by Serena. Serena is also an investor, right? In 2021, she started her own venture capital firm, and she has invested in over 60 different women-owned and Black-owned businesses. That is her mission. Serena is also a mother. She is a wife. She is multifaceted, as so many of us are. And we have to remember, women are dynamic. Women are multifaceted. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't be that way. And so that's why I do have an issue with saying, oh, you must pick one particular demographic or one particular topic. What I like to say is you do need to have clarity, and you do need to be able to speak about that effectively and communicate with your audience. But other than that, be yourself, express yourself. When you are authentic, when you are real, when you share your passions, you are going to attract your right people to you, and you are likely going to deflect the people that were not meant to work with you in the first place.
Liz, thank you. Thank you for this last clarification, because it will change a lot of lives, because you and I align on this niching down thing. So thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this conversation. I hope you can tell from, you know, just how, from the energetic connection, a spiritual connection, if we would say. Thank you so much. That's
You are
it.
so welcome. It's my pleasure.
That's it. I'm going to post this on my feed. I'll put it on my YouTube, and I hope that a lot of people will watch it and they'll take it to heart and implement everything we've talked about, because it literally will change their lives. It will.
That makes me so happy. I really hope it
Yes.
serves so many people.
Yes. Thank you so much, Liz. Have a wonderful day. I'll be in touch. Maybe later in the year or next year, we'll get together again on another conversation if you're not too busy. But thank you. God bless you. And thank you to everyone who joined us. The replay will be on my page in a couple of minutes. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Liz. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.